take me away.
Yeah.
The issue is a punishment on behalf of big tech, or the issue is like, I've been demonetized for this long.
Yep.
That can be redlined and changed. Wasn't. So that's the issue. It's like that was the issue as far as, okay, this isn't going to happen because of the big tech penalties. And I understand it too, by the way. Look, when you're in a war, and I mean that we are in an ideological war. We really are. And we are at a potential tipping point in this country. You need different kinds of people. You need different battalions. And I get it that some people want to work within the platforms in order to change the platforms. Well, no one understands that more than me because I've been there since, before there was monetization.
Steven Crowder, you remember, right? Was on the PBD podcast, and he was asked a question by Patrick. So watch the video.
The question that kept coming up, Stephen, was, whether it's Candace came out and said, I wanted to find out what he had to say, or Ben Shapiro came out, this is how negotiation works. If you don't like it, you go back and forth, Let's go. How many times did you guys go back and forth until it was like, okay, you did a video, you didn't mention the company's name, everybody's trying to kind of guess who it is, but most people kind of knew it was Daily Wire that you were talking about, and then they came out, Jeremy went through the contract, one by one, and then you responded, then there's the recording, then there's this, and then it was like, hey, Candace comes out, Jordan Peterson tweet, delete, all this stuff that's going on, right? But the question
it's like the world's biggest high school, I get it.
But the question for me is, how many conversations did you guys have up until the point where it's like, we're not doing this?
Yeah, so, I mean, and not to rehash like all that stuff, because look, I think people now kind of know, like, you make your decision, and I love Jordan Peterson, like Andrew, like I'm still friends with a lot of people over there. The issue there was never, look, the issue I always had was, and I said, take me off the table because it wasn't going to be a fit. The issue was with other people. The primary issue, you never heard me talk about money. And I know as a business guy, there's probably like nails on a chalkboard. But it's, you can't penalize people. You can't put in 110% penalties on behalf of big tech. Literally 110% penalties. But primarily, if you have other kids who are coming up, like you can't punish conservative content creators on behalf of big tech, saying not only do you have to be there, you have to be monetized, which on YouTube, right? That's a very different set of guidelines. Is basically don't say anything offensive ever. All I can say is there was never anything that we went over that involved that being eliminated. Like if that was a sticking point, like okay, get rid of that.
You realize he didn't answer the question, right? The question was, how many times did Steven Crowder and the Daily Wire went back and forth about the negotiation? How many times? Like, they send something to you and you'll be like, no, I don't like it. Then you send it back to them and they're like, no, I don't like it. Like how negotiations are normally done. They will send you a first draft. You look at it, you'll be like, nah, this is not good. I don't want this. You send it back to them, and they with your own demands, and they also look at it and be like, we can give you this, but we cannot give you this, or send it back to you, and then back and forth argument until you guys arrive at the final contract. Realize he didn't answer right, and that was the same thing that happened in I think Tim Pool's podcast. He was asked a simple question, and he dashed it. So I'm not saying that he is lying on his covering sometimes, just saying that he is very good at dodging these questions. When they ask him about something that they want him to be very specific, he just kind of like dodge it. Let me play one more time so that you can really understand what I'm talking about.
How many conversations did you guys have up until the point where it's like, we're not doing this?
Yeah. So, I mean, and not to rehash like all that stuff, because look, I think people now kind of know, like you make your decision, and I love Jordan Peterson, like Andrew, like I'm still friends with a lot of people over there. The issue there was never, look, the issue I always had was, and I said, take me off the table because it wasn't going to be a fit. The issue was with other people. The primary issue, you never heard me talk about money. And I know as a business guy, there's probably like nails on a chalkboard, but it's, you can't penalize people. You can't put in 110% penalties on behalf of big tech. Literally 110% penalties. But primarily, if you have other kids who are coming up, like you can't punish conservative content creators on behalf of big tech, saying not only do you have to be there, you have to be monetized, which on YouTube, right? That's a very different set of guidelines. Is basically don't say anything offensive ever. All I can say is there was never anything that we went over that involved that being eliminated. Like if that was a sticking point, like okay, get rid of that. No, that doesn't happen. And so we decided, okay, we're going to go on our way and do it. Now we're focusing on what it is that we can do, what it is that we can change, and bringing in other people.
So from the beginning of the conversation series until decision was made, is that like 5 weeks, 2 months, 3 months? Is there like a...
Months.
Okay, good. So it's not like it was because some people are thinking, Hey, we're out of here. We're done. First offer. I can't believe you're doing this. I'm blasting you
No.
publicly. Okay, so that's good to know.
Yeah, right. Months. How many months? Months. It could be 2, it could be 4, it could be 10, it could be 20, it could be 100 months. At least there's a possible deniability, right? If you say months, at least no one can hold you responsible for that. Like you can always deny. Like when I said months, I meant 2 months, or maybe 4 months, or 6 months. Well, I didn't say 4 months to be exact. I said months, which could be like 10 months, 12 months, 14 months. Who knows about all these things? They are so difficult to remember. Who can ever remember all these things, right? I think this guy is really, really good. And he's good. He's good. He's good. You see, after even Patrick tried pressing him, like to really give a definite answer, and he was like, months. How many months? Who care about numbers, right? Let's just say no months. It could be 10, it could be 12, it could be 15. No one really cares about the exact number of months or how many times you guys went back and forth about the whole contract thing. But you see, this is the thing about humans, right? We all find what we like and we stick to it, and what we do not like, we criticize and condemn. Right now, they are trying to build up their own platform. They needed the whole chaos, if I may put it that way, in order to get enough attraction or enough attention to what they are trying to do. And I think it's good to have more of these platforms out there. Like I have said it before, right? I think that it's always better to have many people talking about an issue so that the viewers or other listeners can have an objective take on the whole situation, or they can listen to everyone talk and they can come up with their own conclusion. And I have always been in support of freedom of speech, people having the right to say what they want to say in a respectful way, obviously. I remember the recording was mentioned, which I believe or I think that it's a really, really low place to go. If it comes to a point where you have to record private conversation of you and your friends or of people who are having a transaction with you and then play it on air, I feel like that is a real problem. It feels like you need to do something with yourself, because you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be recording private conversation and playing it on air. So Stephen did really, really poor when he recorded a private conversation he had with the Daily Wire and play it on air. And I know in the business world, you have to kill all rivals, so to say. You have to kill the competition if you are supposed to be the top dog in town. I understand that. And maybe because they are trying to launch their own platform, the only way they thought they could stand out or they could be the top dog in town was to drag the Daily Wire into the mud. That is really poor. People shouldn't be going that way. Steven is a very talented person and he has a lot of followers and they really love him. I think without him bringing all this talk and all this kind of like confusion up, he would have still started his platform and the platform would have still been very popular. And one simple thing, Steven, please just try to answer questions the way they are asked. Don't keep on dodging. When you dodge, it makes you look like you are kind of like guilty and you don't want to come out. So to you guys out there, what is your take on Steven Crowder and the way he talks about the Daily Wire? Do you think that he was right to have published the conversation he had with the Daily Wire? What could be his motive for doing all what he did? let us know in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. And also, please do not forget to like this video, share the video, follow our Facebook page, and most importantly, subscribe to this YouTube channel, because little bit of goodwill like the one you're doing just now help us a lot, and we shall forever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.